Kindergarten Rocks by Katie Davis. Katie Davis is the author of this book because she wrote the words. Katie Davis is also the illustrator of this book because she drew the pictures. So she had two jobs with this book. She's both the author and illustrator. She wrote the words and drew the pictures. Kindergarten Rocks. I'm telling you, Dex, kindergarten rocks. That must be Dex. He looks like a little boy. And he looks a little worried. Look at the expression on his face. Look at his body language with his toes. Oh, Katie Davis did a good job as an illustrator. She's really putting a lot of expression into their faces. We know how the characters feel. I am Dexter Dugan, and I know everything about kindergarten. This is because I am actually going to be a kindergartner very soon. Next month, practically. It's next week, Dexter. I'm an expert because my big sister Jessie went there too one time. My dog Rufus is an eensy teensy beensy bit scared about kindergarten. Let's look at the picture. That must be Rufus. Is he a real dog? No, you're right. He's a stuffed animal. Can stuffed animals actually be scared? No, they can't. So I think maybe Dex is actually a little scared. And he's saying that Rufus is scared so that he can talk about his fears, the things he's scared about, with his sister Jessie. And she says, "You don't have to be scared, Dex. You're going to love it." Jessie went to kindergarten a long time ago. But she still remembers it, even though she's going into 3rd grade. Rufus is scared I'll get lost on the way to school. Jessie says, "The bus driver knows the way. Don't worry, kindergarten rocks." When Jess went to kindergarten, she wasn't big like she is now. And she's looking at the wall where they measure each other, and she says, "I was a shrimp like you." She wrote like me, and she drew like me too. When you start kindergarten, you might write your letters kind of sloppy. Some of them might even be backwards. And they might all be uppercase. When we know the right way to write your name and the way that you'll need to write it in kindergarten only gets one uppercase letter. But when Jessie was in kindergarten, she used to write just like Dex does. And her pictures weren't necessarily the way they would be when she learns in kindergarten. She'll need to actually include a body instead of just a face and arms and legs. So he says, "Oh, she was little like me, and she wrote like me, and she drew like me too, only not as good." I got Jessie to help me make a list of things Rufus was scared about. So Dex is having Rufus tell everything that could be scary about kindergarten and writing them all down. And he says, "I'm not worried though." Let's look closely and find out some of the things that maybe Rufus, or possibly Dex, is scared about with kindergarten. What if it smells funny there? How will I get lunch? What if I can't find my way around? What if my teacher is mean? What if Dex gets lost? What if I get in trouble? What if I don't have friends? What if the other kids can read and he can't? Are there mean people there? And she says, "Kindergarten will be a piece of cake. No problem." Do you think he really feels that way? He says, I can't wait. I think he might be feeling anxious. Anxious means worried and scared at the same time. Here he is looking at the calendar, and that special day must be the day that school starts. But when he says he can't wait, what do you think the illustrator is trying to tell us with that look on his face? When the bus came the next morning, the driver seemed like he knew what he was doing, so I got on. Jess, Rufus is scared I might get lost. You won't, said Jess. But what if I do? You won't. But what if I forget to make a map and I get lost then? You won't. I might. You won't. But what if I do? I'm not that lucky. So I think Jess is saying, stop worrying, right? Rufus was still worried, but Jessie had a great idea. If Rufus gets scared, just give him a hug. No, we know Rufus is not the one that's scared. Dex is scared. But maybe giving a stuffed dog a hug might help Dex feel less scared. When we finally got to school, I couldn't wait to see my classroom. Let's look at the picture. Does that look like a boy that just can't wait? Or does that look like a boy that his older sister is dragging him into school? Look, there are even drag marks on our illustration from his feet. I love the details in the pictures. Part of being a good reader is always looking carefully at the illustrations for these clues. Hi, Dexter. I'm Mrs. Sugarman, your teacher. Well, there are some kind of good surprises about kindergarten. For one thing, my friend Joey from preschool was there. Rufus was so happy to see him, he forgot to worry. We made art and cooked food and smushed Play-Doh. He says, I think Rufus wants to lick the spoon. I got to write letters and build a gigantic tower and play in the imagination station and look at books. Then we went to the library. That's where you go if you want to know about snails or soccer or outer space or shark guts. You can borrow a whole book about it and keep it practically forever. That just means you can take it home and keep it for a week or two, and then you bring it back. That's what borrowing means. You have to bring it back. That way the other kids get a chance to look at it and take it home later too. At lunch, you get to eat with all your friends in the cafeteria. It's exactly almost like a restaurant. Oh no! Ooh, you're gonna get in trouble. Why would he get in trouble? Oh, because he spilt milk and made a mess? Do you think he did it on purpose? Or do you think it was an accident? I think it was an accident too. Look at his face. He doesn't look like he was trying to be bad. He just made a little mess by an accident. I bet if he raised his hand and asked for help cleaning it up, I bet somebody would help teach him how to clean it up. In the cafeteria, we do clean up after ourselves, and we try not to make a mess. But if you need help, you just raise your hand and ask. You won't get in trouble if you're trying to be good and it's an accident and you raise your hand to ask for help. And there are people called custodians who clean the whole entire school, and they help you even when you spill your milk by accident and you are scared you'll get in trouble. Oh, that must be who came to help him when he raised his hand. And he says, how about I wipe this up for you? And he says, thank you. Now in our school, I know that we learn to help clean up our accidents ourselves if they're on the table. If they're on the floor, we will need a custodian to help us. After lunch, everyone goes to recess. Joey says, you can't get lost playing I am a monster and you are a powerful monster getter. Because if someone's always chasing you, how can you get lost? Hey, wait a second, where's Rufus? Remember his stuffed dog? Where is he? He says, Rufus is gone. Oh, he looks worried. Rufus is lost. This is a good reason not to bring any of our toys or stuffed animals with us to school because they could get lost. I know at our school we do not bring toys or stuffed animals with us. Let's find out if he can find Rufus. Now, teachers do not look for lost toys. That is not a teacher's job. So she says, why don't we get Jessie to help you find him? So they had to pull Jessie, his big sister, out of her class. And he says, maybe I left him in the cafeteria. Then he walks to the cafeteria. That's the room that they ate lunch in. He wasn't there, so he kept going. He looked in the boys' bathroom. Ew, I would never want any of my toys in a bathroom. And then he wasn't there, so they looked at the art room. Oh, that's a place where something that could get broken or messy, huh? So he wasn't there. They kept going. And he says, come on, check the library. It's down the hall. So they look in the library. They looked in the music room. They looked in the custodian's closet, which we don't go in. They looked in the gym. We don't have one of those. We go outside for PE, for physical education. We go outside to the court. And he comes in and he says, let's see if he's on the playground. And they looked on the playground and he wasn't there. And at the end he says, oh, Rufus is lost. Jessie says, don't worry, I'm sure he's okay. Rufus is gone. We couldn't find him anywhere. He says, wait a second. There he is. He's not lost. Rufus was so happy to see me. He knew I'd find him the whole time. And Dexter makes a very good decision. He says, you're staying home from now on. So although he brought something on the very first day, he learned it's not a good idea to bring toys to school. He says, you're going to stay home from now on, Rufus. Oh, look, it looks like maybe Dexter and Jessie must be talking on the bus again. He says, Rufus is scared I won't get to go to kindergarten tomorrow. You will. But what if I don't? You will. But what if I don't remember to wake up early and get ready and get to the bus stop on time? You will. I might not. You will. But what if I don't? I'm not that lucky. I'm going to learn lots of stuff in kindergarten. But the thing that I learned today was kindergarten rocks. And Jessie says, I told you so. And then Dexter asks, what's first grade like? And Jessie just looks, a little overwhelmed. Like maybe she doesn't want to have to teach him that right now. Maybe she wants him to do kindergarten first. Before you go to kindergarten, you might be a little worried about all sorts of little things. If you ask somebody the questions that you're worried about, you won't feel so anxious. And you can always ask the teacher, and you can always ask your parents. Thank you for reading Kindergarten Rocks with me today.